everyone to the Rally for Abortion Justice. This is my 4th march, and let me tell you that y'all get better looking every time I'm here. We are thrilled to see so many of you coming out to support abortion access all around the country. And before we get underway, because I know it's sunny, I know it's hot, I want to say a couple of words before I invite our host out. Y'all, it's still a whole pandemic, a whole panoramic. So what we need to do is we can gather safely outside, but what that means is masks to the extent possible, socially distance, sanitizer. This is 5 feet. This is my dance space. That's your dance space, all right? So keep your distance where possible, and we'll keep it moving. So with that said, let's get to it. I have the distinct honor of introducing our host for this rally, Cristela Alonso.
What's going on? How's everybody doing today? Oh, come on, one more time like you mean it. How is everybody doing today? Thank you for that intro, by the way. I got to tell you, it's really good to be here. Bienvenidos a todos, en español, para las personas que hablan en español. Everybody, my name is Cristela Alonso. I'm a first-generation Mexican-American, born and raised in Texas. My mother was undocumented for years and was the most patriotic person I knew. She taught me to love this country. She told me this was the place where dreams were possible. It was the land of opportunity. She came from a village in Mexico where things were very different. She came from a family that believed that women were inferior to men, that women had to do what the men told them to do. They didn't have a voice. When my mother came here, she left my father. The first woman in her family to do that. And she realized her voice was powerful. She realized that here she was free to make her own choices and decided that what was best for her was to leave an abusive relationship. She made her own choice, something she was not used to doing. She spent her life up until her death telling me this country was the place that had given her a choice. But now, years later, I stand here confused. I always believed that with the passing of time, progress would happen. Change for the greater good would happen. I believed it was inevitable. But now, I stand here because lawmakers are working on doing the exact opposite by creating legislation that not only takes away our choices, but can take away our lives. Now, my home state of Texas recently passed a law that prohibits abortions as early as 6 weeks into a pregnancy. That's right. Where many people might not even realize they're pregnant yet. Now, I gotta say, I love my home state, but that is why I'm here today. I love my home state of Texas so much that I am willing to fight for what is best for the people in it. I am here to fight for my loved ones, for my family. You know, growing up, one of the mottos you hear about my home state is, don't mess with Texas. Well, guess what, Texas? We're here because we have to mess with you. We're here because you are trying to control us, and now other states are trying to create similar laws as well. The reason I am here today, the reason that many of us are here today, is because we want to let people know that we are capable of deciding what is best for us. We can decide what to do with our own bodies. What we're asking for is the right to be treated as a person with their own brain, their own heart, to make decisions that are right for us. Now, we are not asking that politicians make abortions mandatory, just like they are trying to make carrying out a pregnancy mandatory. We are asking for options. Now, this country is supposed to be a democracy where lawmakers listen to what the majority want. Most people support access to abortion. We are here today because we want our voices to be heard. We're here today because we want respect. We want the rights that we are supposed to have as people in a country that says we are all supposed to be equal. Now, are you all ready to get this started? I welcome you to the rally for abortion justice. I gotta tell you, I couldn't be more happier, more honored to be your host for today. Before we kick off our formal program, I would like to welcome to the stage Hope Kadai and Gabrielle Tayak from Where the Water Blends to welcome us to the traditional lands of the Nacotchtank and Piscataway Conoy.
Nulalentum, El Paik. I'm glad you all came. It is a good day to be a woman. Me, Hope, Machisa, ni Indigenous woman. My name is Hope. My native name is Machisa, which means fire starter, and I am here to start a fire. As we gather together in our wise minds, today I stand in my truth. Will you stand in your truth with me? Today is all about bringing awareness to autonomy, meaning people have the right to make decisions about their bodies and be treated with dignity and respect. sure we all love someone who has had an abortion. I know I do. I do not love those women any less. I love them more. Just like how I learned to love myself more.
Right on. Right on.
By respectfully acknowledging the traumatic history of genocide and forced displacement of the Nacotchtank people and the Piscataway Conoy from their native lands, you honor all the indigenous communities, past, present, and future. Aho!
Thank you, my sister. We stand together. We stand together strongly. My name is Gabrielle Tyack, and I'm a Piscataway Beaver Clan woman, also here to welcome you to Nacotchtank, the place where the goods are brought in. And we are connected to our Piscataway traditional territories, the place where the waters blend. We stand with you, our relatives and sisters, to rematriate our body sovereignty. First violated over 400 years ago, a colonial pathway perfected and cut upon us here in the Atlantic, which opened the way for the brutal enslavement of our kin from Africa who were brought here against their will, and then unleashed across this turtle island. But we will say the name today of our woman chief, and you will learn her name too, and we invoke her with us, Nansanan, who stood up in the year 1706 to protect the body of her daughter from the very beginning. We carry her with all of us today who seek justice and well-being. Say her name, Nansanan.
Nansanan!
Thank her matriline, Wanishi.
Wanishi!
Nansanan.
Nansanan!
Wanishi.
Wanishi!
Nansanan.
Nansanan!
Wanishi.
Wanishi!
Nansanan.
Nansanan!
Wanishi.
Wanishi!
Onward, together in unity, we go from this land and forward. Thank you.
And now we are going to sing the Women Warrior Song, a song that we have shared with this community of women since the beginning of the march. Ambetiwashte, good morning. It is amazing to be here with you again, my sisters. My name is Sarah Eaglehart, and I am a board member of Women's March, and I am Ogallala Lakota from the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. I come from the heart of everything that is Pahasapa, the Black Hills of South Dakota. And I'm here to first remind you again that there are 5,712 Indigenous women who are still murdered and missing. My sisters deserve to be found too. My sisters deserve justice too. I need you to fight for the justice of Indigenous sisters. Will you fight for them? And I will fight for you too. Just as Mother Earth, Unchimaka, is sacred, so are you, and so am I. The connectedness that we have is infinite. We must care for both Unchimaka and ourselves. The wisdom and power to choose how to do that ultimately resides within us, no one else. We must reclaim our sacred human rights, autonomy over our land, autonomy over our bodies. Will you fight with me? Madakuya Oyase, we are all related, we are all connected.
One more time, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Tayak and Hope. Onward is right, and I would like to say that there's no better way to start a program than to actually acknowledge the first people that were here in this country, the Native Americans. Thank you so much. And now, to help the program move forward, I would like to share with us a little performance protest. And with that, I need your help in welcoming the Trust, Respect, Access Coalition from Texas. Please welcome them to the stage. One more time. That was awesome. By the way, I have to say, shout out to my fellow Texans that are here today to say that we need a change what's happening back home. Thank you one more time for that protest. That's amazing. And now, I have the privilege of welcoming to the stage, please give it up for the Soul Rebels!
1, 2, 1, 2. How y'all doing? Feel free to get up on your feet, y'all. They say we got one song, so we got to have a good time on this one, y'all. Everybody get up. Everybody get up. Everybody get up. Come on. Just clap your hands, everybody. Come on, clap your hands, everybody. Come on, clap your hands, everybody. Come on, get on up. I say get on up. Clap your hands, everybody. Come on, clap your hands, everybody.
Hello, everybody. One more time for So Rebels. Are you all pumped up? Hey, man, that was just the warm-up, because before we march, we need to know why we're marching. So right now, we have some amazing voices coming on stage today who will help us understand what's going on with abortion access and reproductive freedom right now. Our first speaker is Rachel O'Leary Carmona, the Executive Director of the Women's March, here to let you know what it means to run the world.
Thank you so much. I don't know about the world, we'll be definitely running these streets today, I'll tell you that. I see a lot of y'all, and the thing about rallies is that there's a lot coming from the stage and not a lot from the people, so I want to hear from you for a little bit. When I say hands off, you say my body. Hands off. Hands off. Hands off. Hands off. Hands off. I am so grateful to be here today on behalf of Women's March, and I'm honored to be showing up, fighting, and marching with all of you at the Rally for Abortion Justice. Just 1 month ago, we watched in horror as the Supreme Court's extremist white ring took a sledgehammer to the constitutional right to an abortion and refused to block the most restrictive abortion ban in the country from going into effect. The court cut off abortion access in Texas, and then they went a step further and criminalized anyone who tries to even help someone access an abortion. All of this in a state that has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the country. It is shameful. And beyond that, it is dangerous. And as a Mexican American, as someone who lives in Texas, this is personal to me. As a woman, this is personal. As someone who deserves to be able to live her life on her terms, this is personal. And it is personal to all of us. 80% of the people in this country believe that people who get pregnant should be able to access abortion care. And 1 in 4 women in this country do have abortions. And the fact is this, we outnumber them. And yet, white men elected through racist, gerrymandered maps appoint anti-choice, anti-precedent, anti-woman justices to the United States Supreme Court to do their dirty work. And then they ask the court to remove the 50-year-old constitutional abortion rights. We cannot and we will not let them win. So I'm asking y'all to remember one thing. You're probably making friends, meeting people, you out here in the streets, your sign game is on point. You're here making community and building the power to win moving forward. But remember one thing. Today's rally for abortion justice is not just about today. It is simply day one of a renewed fight that we and all of our allies are waging in 50 states all across the country. And I don't know if you've seen social media, but Austin is popping, Houston is popping, New York is popping, Chicago is popping, LA is popping. 650 marches all across the country. We took the streets today for the first time in the Biden era because a real change in the Oval Office has not stopped the politicized, the perverse, the patriarchal desire to regulate our bodies. We can and will show the Supreme Court and anyone else threatening our freedom that there are more people standing with us on the side of justice than with them. We outnumber them. And today we are getting loud. We're getting loud about our demands. Pass the Women's Health Protection Act so that states cannot take sledgehammers to abortion rights whenever they feel like it. And pass the EACH Act to end the Hyde Amendment. But But the fact that we know this, we need more than policies and laws protecting reproductive rights. We need to protect and expand the right to vote. We need a transformed and reformed democracy, and we need a Supreme Court that will not overturn 50 years of precedent, and so much more. And this is a fight for our rights, and it is a fight for what's right. And it's a fight we can win if, and only if, we fight together. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in them streets.
Thank you. Gracias, Rachel, for bringing the energy. Come on, are you all fired up now? Now, I know we are here today to talk about abortion, which is, health care. So, why not hear from a doctor? Please welcome Dr. Jamila Parrott, President and CEO of Physicians for Reproductive Health Care and a practicing OBGYN in D.C.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Hello. Y'all look beautiful out there. Yes. My name is Dr. Jamila Parrott. I use she, her pronouns. I am, as you heard, the President and CEO of Physicians for Reproductive Health, a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist, and an abortion provider here in my community, the district. While I am glad to be here with you all, the circumstances under which we are gathered is anything but positive. We are at a critical moment for access to abortion in our country. And I will not hide from the fact that as a provider of comprehensive reproductive health care that will always include abortion care, this moment is truly frightening. Just over 1 month ago, our friends, families, our comrades in Texas had access to abortion change overnight with the passage of SB 8, essentially nullifying the already threadbare protections of Roe v. Wade. The promise of abortion access for the millions of people in need of compassionate care in the state of Texas is an empty one. My colleagues who received the same training that I did to provide abortion care were suddenly forced by this medically unnecessary, dangerous law to turn away patients after 6 weeks of pregnancy. Thankfully, providers of abortion care in surrounding states have opened their doors to patients who are now forced to travel out of state to get their essential care, if they have the resources to travel at all. But it does not have to be this way. Everyone should be able to get the care that they need in their own community. And the truth is, many more people in Texas, without the money, the resources, or support to travel, have been forced to remain pregnant against their will. To some of you, this may still feel abstract. After all, it's happening far away, all the way in Texas. But we're here today because it isn't as far away as you may think. At this moment, anti-abortion state legislators are working on copycat legislation aimed at robbing us of our bodily autonomy, stripping us of our agency, and forcing our communities to flee to access care. And to make matters worse, the Supreme Court has agreed to hear oral arguments in the Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, a challenge to a clearly unconstitutional 15-week abortion care ban that could overturn Roe for all of us. So now is the time to be loud and clear that abortion is health care and that cannot be delayed. Abortion care is safe. Abortion care is essential. Abortion care is normal. Abortion care is necessary. Abortion care is an act of love. I am honored to listen to the stories of the people for whom I provide care, who come to me wanting and needing this care. And I'm honored to care for them in a way that allows them to live the lives they have defined for themselves, where they are controlling their bodies, their families, and their futures. There is so much work to do. The Senate must pass the Women's Health Protection Act to prevent states like Texas from being able to implement these dangerous restrictions on access to abortion. But make no mistake, the Women's Health Protection Act is the floor. Congress must also pass the EACH and the HEAL Act to ensure that everyone can have coverage of abortion care regardless of who they are, where they live, or how they get their health care. And the truth is, the need to access abortion care does not occur in a vacuum. The majority of people seeking abortion care are already parents. And reproductive justice demands that we have the human right to parent the children we already have in safe and sustainable communities. Lives that would be supported by the critical passage of maternal health care provisions like those in the Build Back Better package. We demand the human right to survive and to thrive. We demand reproductive justice, and we will not rest until we get it. Join me in saying that enough is enough.
One more time for the doctor. Thank you so much. Now, can we take a minute to just thank the people who deliver abortion care? Now let's welcome another leading organization in abortion care, the president and CEO of Planned Parenthood, Alexis McGill Johnson.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I am Alexis McGill Johnson, President and CEO of Planned Parenthood, where we are damn proud to provide abortions. I don't know who needs to hear this, but abortion is health care. Basic health care, essential health care that cannot wait. But across the country, y'all know that care is under attack. In Texas, Doris Dixon, the director of patient access at Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast, has been fielding heartbreaking calls from patients whose constitutional rights are being denied. Doris and some incredible providers are here today. Let's continue to show them love. They and every other abortion provider in Texas are having to fight their instincts to send patients out of state to receive care. 1,028 miles one way from Houston, Texas to Aurora, Colorado. 3 state lines crossing from Texas to Arkansas, Arkansas to Missouri, Missouri to Illinois. 6 hours one way. A patient who drove alone because she was so afraid that if she asked someone for help, they might get sued. And those are the people who can travel. What about the rest? These are the consequences of 1 month of one ban in one state. But this year alone, we have seen nearly 600 restrictions introduced in 47 states. So no matter where you live, no matter where you are, this fight is at your doorstep right now. On December 1st, the Supreme Court will hear Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health, a case that could unravel Roe v. Wade once and for all. And we know if Roe falls, 26 states will move to ban abortion. But for too many people, abortion is already out of reach. As our reproductive justice partners remind us, a right without access is meaningless. Yes, let's shout out our reproductive justice partners. Look, y'all, this moment is dark. It is dark, but that is why we are here. Movements exist because of darkness, and it is our job to imagine the light even when we can't see it. It is our job. It is our job to turn pain into purpose, to turn pain into promise, and to turn pain into power. The power to determine what happens to our bodies, what happens to our lives and our futures for every woman, every trans man, every non-binary person, anyone who may ever need an abortion. We own it. It is ours. I want to address one more thing. Y'all know there is a lot of false equivalence happening out here in these streets. People want to talk about both sides of this issue, when we know there is only one side. One side. 80% of Americans want abortion to be legal. There is not a single state in the union where banning abortion is popular. Our humanity and our dignity is not up for debate. Every time they overreach, we fight back. As Dr. King said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And sometimes we need to jump up and hang on that arc and bend it ourselves. And that's exactly what we are going to do until we are all free. Thank you.
Woo! Keep it going one more time. Oh, I love that. Yes. Yes. Remember, for Spanish speakers, es nuestro cuerpo, nuestra decisión, nuestro derecho tener esa oportunidad. Look, we are starting to get real, and we're about to get even more real. Because coming up next, I'm bringing up a reverend from Texas. Now let's turn this conversation to people on the ground in Texas and welcome Reverend Erica Forbes and Anna Lee from Texas.
Good morning, my fellow justice warriors. I greet you today with all the power and strength you need for this day. I greet you proudly as a licensed and ordained minister that has had not one, but 2 abortions, and I'm damn glad I did it. I greet you as someone who has been fighting for abortion justice for 30 years, and I'm not tired. I greet you coming from the state of Texas, where I've been fighting and will continue to fight for abortion justice because SB 8 is illegal, point blank, period. Now listen, I'm going to start by asking you to do something for me. Take a look at the people around you. Look into their eyes and do your best to memorize them, because these are the eyes of warriors who have been fighting for abortion justice with you. Not a single person here is here by accident. Each and every one of us is here for a purpose, with a purpose. I want to invite my friend Anna to share a bit about her purpose today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anna, and I fight for teens' reproductive rights in Texas. I am a policy intern for These Not Words, a former Jane's Due Process and Texas Equal Access Fund client, an abortion storyteller with We Testify and Advocates for You, and a native Texan. The month I turned 17, I wanted birth control, but I couldn't get it because Texas won't let teens get it on our own. A few months later, I was having sex and a condom ripped. But sell me Plan B because I was 17. That's against the FDA's rules. I was angry. I took pregnancy tests every day for weeks. Of course, a few weeks later, those two little lines on the test stared right back at me. I called my bestie, and we strategized. In Texas, if you're under 18, you have to get your parents' permission to get an abortion. My parents lived out of the country, so I had to go ask a judge, a complete stranger, for permission. These are my friends, Veronica and HK. And we all had to go ask judges for permission to have abortions. Thankfully, Jane's due process was there to help us. I had to prove to the judge that I was a good student and mature enough to have an abortion. Do you know what I wanted to say to the judge? I am not a baby-making machine, and I should be able to decide if and when I become pregnant. The whole process took 2 weeks. I had my abortion after 6 weeks because of these delays. If SB 8 was in effect when I needed my first abortion, I would not have been able to get it. And my best friend, Jane's Due Process, and the Texas Equal Access Fund could be sued for helping me. Young people across this nation deserves better. Here's the thing. The Women's Health Protection Act is an important start, but the truth is, it is not enough for young people like me and my fellow Janes. We need a real movement to repeal all of the laws stopping young people from being able to access abortion care. I am lucky that I was able to get my abortions, but it shouldn't be this way. No one should have to go to a judge for permission to have an abortion. No one should worry about being sued for helping their friends, and no one should stand in my way when I want birth control, Plan B, or abortions. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope you leave today thinking about the young people in your community and your family who may need help getting abortions. Because, remember, everyone loves someone who had an abortion! Thank you!
Listen, each of us has the same defiant spirit that beckons us to fight. And we know this is the fight of our lives. This is the fight that all other fights have prepared us for. I know some of you are scared or even terrified, but let me tell you, God has placed our judgment on the other side, our justice on the other side of terror. I know some of us are angry. I know some of us are sick of this fight, and some struggle to go on. But I'm here to remind you that each and every one of us comes from something greater. Some call it God, some call it Allah, some call it Spirit, the Goddess, Buddha, Jehovah, the Divine Mother, and some of us have no name for it because it comes from within our own minds. Whatever you call it, that thing is what drove us here. That is what will give us the energy to keep fighting. Make no mistake. We are not just fighting for our right for abortion justice. We're fighting for our children's right to thrive. Because we know that when we take a stand, we're fighting for our rights. When we take a break, we're fighting for our rights. When we resist, we're fighting for our rights. When we get an abortion, we're fighting for our rights. When we have our babies, we're fighting for our rights. When we march at any time, we're fighting for our rights. When we're in joy, we are fighting for our rights. When we don't agree, we are fighting for our rights. When we support and care about every single person on the planet, we are fighting for our rights. So today, we put the entire world on notice that we will always fight, and we will keep fighting until this hell freezes over, and then we will fight on the ice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, that reverend, the power, the power. And Anna, thank you so much for sharing your story, because look, sometimes we got to put faces to the cause. Sometimes we have to humanize them, because sadly, abortion access barriers, they exist across many states. So let's hear a few more stories to help us understand what we're facing as a nation, especially if the court overturns 50 years of president next year. With that, please welcome Kenya Martin to the stage.
Good afternoon. I say good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kenya Martin, and I am a born and raised Houston girl, Texas forever, H-Town. I serve as a communications project coordinator at the National Network of Abortion Funds. Who is here from an abortion fund? I am also a board member at the Abortion Care Network, and I used to work as an abortion clinic counselor at the Houston Women's Clinic, an independent abortion clinic. Where my indie providers at? I'm a mama to an amazing daughter. Where are my mamas at? And I'm an abortion storyteller with We Testify. Do we have some We Testify storytellers here? Woo, I see you. In fact, where are all my abortion storytellers at? If you've had some abortions, make some noise. It's so good to see all of you here. Let me tell y'all something. As a Texan, as a mama who's had several abortions, a lover of all things abortion funds, a cheerleader for independent clinics, I am devastated, wrecked actually. Like my heart is broken, y'all, at the passing of this bullshit law, SB 8. The fact that they think they can treat any of us, that they can treat Texans like this when we need our abortions, it's got me fucked up. And they got the nerve to tell our neighbors and random-ass strangers that they can sue. Yes, sue. People who love us and show up for us. Sue them for a raggedy-ass $10,000 check. What in the hell? This is wrong, y'all. And let me be real clear when I say this. Every single last one of my abortions was necessary. My abortion saved my life, and I am grateful that I lived to stand before you today and say that. I bet that's the same for all of you. You all wouldn't be here if you didn't have your abortions, or if our parents didn't have their abortions, or our grandmamas, grandpappies. Hella ancestors had abortions. The thing is, we've been having abortions for thousands of years. This shit is ancient, y'all. Like, people been having abortions since they've been having sex. Providing abortion is basically one of the oldest professions. That and sex work. Let's hear it for the sex workers too. Shout out to y'all. Actually, let me talk about being pro-sex for a minute. Sex is fun. Sex is healthy. Sex is good for our bodies and mental health. A lot of us aren't trying to get pregnant when having sex. The ultimate goal is an orgasm. And it's okay to have abortions after some hot sex simply because you don't want to be pregnant. I just didn't want to be pregnant. And I want you to know that if that's your experience, that's okay too. Your story deserves to be heard. As I close, I want to talk to all of you who show up for us who have abortions and love upon us, all of you at abortion funds, independent clinics. If you're an abortion funder or clinic worker, make some noise. And can I get an extra shout out for the clinic workers who aren't here because they are providing care right now? Make some noise so they can hear you in those clinics. I love abortion funders and clinic workers with all my heart. Y'all show up for people who have abortions often when no one else will. The fact that this law targets you for simply showing up to care for us is awful and dangerous. It's cruel, and it's sure as hell not Christian. I know, I'm a lapsed Catholic. It's not loving thy neighbor. They need to be pro-mind your business. This law targets abortion clinic workers and abortion funders. We need our clinics. We need our abortion funds. We need them open, available, and able to provide care to everyone who needs it. So what can you do? Well, if you got time, show up. Donate to your local abortion fund. Volunteer to take calls on the hotline. Volunteer to be a clinic escort if your clinic has a program. Donate to your local independent abortion provider. And keepourclinics.org to make sure clinics are able to survive this mess. We need y'all to show up. We need y'all to make sure we have clinics to go to when we need our abortions. Okay, I'm about to leave this stage because we've got other speakers, but I just want to say to all of you who have had abortions that I love you, and your stories deserve to be told. And as we say at We Testify, everyone loves someone who had abortions. And it's okay to say we had abortions because we freaking wanted to. In closing, I want to hear from those who have had abortions. Let me hear if you had an abortion. I had an abortion. I had an abortion. I had an abortion. Thank you.
One more time. Thank you, Kenya. Thank you, Kenya, for actually speaking the truth and being pro-sex and making sure that everybody knows it's okay to have an abortion for whatever circumstance you want, to understand that sex can be fun, because sometimes we need to remind ourselves that what we're doing is just giving ourselves the respect and right to do whatever we want to do with our bodies. Now, we are slowly coming down. We are getting ready to march, but to do that, I want to introduce our next performer. Let's get our music on while we get ready to march. Please welcome Adeline to the stage.
Thank you so much for having us. My name is Adeline, and we're going to play some music for you. It's a losing game I play in a dog-eat-dog.
everybody. It's time to start bringing it home. We got to get ready to march. Please welcome Marcia Jones from the Afia Center in Texas to the stage.
Hey, it is hot. It is hot. It is hot out here. I thought I came from hell, but I think I just met hell. But anyway, how y'all doing? How's everybody doing? How y'all feeling? Yeah, I feel real good to be seeing people again. I'm tired of seeing people on the screen. But here it is. So here's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do something probably a little different from what we've heard so far. But what I'm going to do is just ask you to go with me. I promise you, if you go with me, it'll make sense by the time you get home, okay? So yeah. So before I even start this, I want to first shout out to the 12 bad-ass black women who had the audacity to step inside of a room and organize around reproductive justice. Because you see, those women knew that today was gonna come. They knew that it is absolutely impossible to get full bodily autonomy organizing around a single issue. That just wasn't going to get us there, especially if you were looking at how these things were going to impact the most marginalized folk. And for the better half, that was going to be folk that didn't identify as white, right? So in order to make that happen, we had to take all of those lived experiences into consideration. How I'm going to eat, where I'm going to sleep, what is sex going to look like, what am I going to have to negotiate to have sex, what am I going to have to give up if I don't have sex, what are all of this shit, how's all of it going to play out in my everyday lived experience? And then we got to bring racism in, okay? Because we can't do this if we're not talking about race. I'm sorry. And if you didn't want to talk about race, you shouldn't have invited me. Because I am a full-grown, fat black woman who will always talk about race. Because you can't not talk about race. And so I'm just going to go and tell you why I'm standing here. I'm standing here today because I am a black woman. I'm standing here today because black women need to be standing here. I'm standing here today because what's happened over the last 4 years is not acceptable. I'm standing here today because some black folk and some other non-white folk decided, yeah, I'm not on this anymore, decided that what was happening wasn't going to happen anymore. So my last shout out is to the badass BIPOC folk across the nation organizing, leading, and having this conversation today. So here's my speech that I can do in about 30 seconds. I come from the state of Texas. I was born in Texas 60 years ago. So Texas is all I know. But what makes it so easy for a state like Texas to go and rip folks' reproductive choices out of their hands is that this is the same state that refuses to allow comprehensive sex education to be taught in the school. This is the same state that understands clearly that if you provide folk having babies with 6 additional months of Medicaid, that they possibly won't die, but they refuse to do it. This is the exact same state who have killed tens of thousands of people by mismanaging COVID, and then sent the same folk that they say they care about our children to school unprotected. These are the same folk, y'all. These are the same folk who continue to let the police kill black folk and then give them more resources so that they can be incentivized to kill more black folk. These are same people. So I just want to tell y'all as I close, yeah, we got to keep on fighting. We can't give up. Because you see, not only is abortion health care, but my organization, we believe that it's also self-care. And we said that loud and proud, that it is self-care. And so while we seek to do what we need to do to take care of ourselves, then we're going to keep on giving it to Texas. Black folk, non-white folk, all of us are telling people today, you can no longer tell us what to do with our bodies. That shit stops today.
Yes, Marsha Jones, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, coming up next, we have Margie del Castillo from the National Latina Institute for Reproductive Justice. Margie del Castillo, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Cristela. Good afternoon, Freedom Plaza. At the National Latina Institute for Reproductive Justice, we fight for all Latinas and Latinx people to have full access to reproductive health, dignity, and the justice that we deserve. We are a proud reproductive justice organization. We honor the Black leaders who gave us the reproductive justice movement. Thank you. The reproductive justice movement is full of vibrant and visionary people like yourselves who fight for liberation while also prioritizing joy and community. We have to have joy, y'all, even in these fights. We have to have joy. Reproductive justice taught me that what was cemented by Roe v. Wade was just the floor of what we need and what we deserve. Roe offered us a basic right to abortion, but a right to an abortion, it's not the same as access, right? Not when barriers exist like time, travel, cost, and state-implemented, medically unnecessary barriers. Not when a person is afraid to ask a loved one for help or afraid to take time to think about it, because what if tomorrow the right goes away? I want to tell you about Rosie Jimenez. Rosie was a 27-year-old beloved mother and a student in McAllen, Texas. She needed abortion care in 1977. Poverty forced her to seek care in the margins, and she died after an unsafe abortion. Her right to an abortion was meaningless then without true access in the form of healthcare coverage. Rosie is the first known victim of a 1976 Medicaid abortion ban known as the Hyde Amendment. I stand in solidarity today with our hermanas and hermanes in Texas who are facing the most extreme restrictions on abortion care in the nation. We stand here in solidarity with Rosie and all Texans. And we stand in solidarity with the people everywhere, because this fight is coming for all of us, y'all. It's not just in Texas, it's not just in the South. It's coming for everyone. Abortion is healthcare. It's that simple. Rosie, yes. Rosie deserved safe and affordable access to the abortion that she needed in 1977, and that is still true for all of us today in 2021. Let's work to make abortion more accessible so that when a person decides that they need one, they can get one easily. Say it with me now. Abortion is healthcare. Abortion is healthcare. Abortion is healthcare. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love seeing the Texas represented here, just to let everybody know that we know it's not okay. And I love this. We're getting to the end of the program. We're about to get get ready to march. Right now, I would like to ask for your help in welcoming Skylar Baylor to the stage.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here, and I'm just going to cut right to the chase. You're probably wondering why a man, me, is standing up in front of you to talk to you at the Women's March about women's rights. I am the first transgender athlete to compete for a Division I men's team in college. And the key word, sports are cool, but the key word is transgender. I am a transgender man, which means that although I am a man, I was assigned female at birth, which means that I have a uterus, which means that I could get pregnant, which means that I could need an abortion. I am here to remind you, to make it absolutely clear that people of all genders can have abortions. And people of all genders should have safe and legal access to abortions. This is a women's issue, and it is also a transgender man's issue. It is also a non-binary person's issue. It is also a genderqueer, gender-fluid, transmasculine person's issue. This is about all of us. And I want to let you in on a little secret. Hopefully it's not a secret to you all because you're here. You should not have to have a uterus to care about abortion rights. You should not have to have a uterus to care about autonomy. You should not have to have a uterus to care about a person's right to choose to do what they do with their body. I am a transgender man. I have spent my life fighting for my right to choose what I do with my body. My right to get top surgery, my right to take gender-affirming hormones, my right to have access to gender-affirming, life-saving health care. We should all have access to life-saving health care. Am I right? Am I right? Pro-life rhetoric is not truly pro-life, because if it was, they would support all the things that save lives, like fighting for black liberation and ending police brutality, like fighting for gender-affirming healthcare to save trans kids' lives, like ending conversion therapy that kills queer kids all the time. Pro-life is truly pro-control. Pro-life is about controlling anyone's body that wants to dismantle or that rejects the cis-hetero patriarchy. All of us here are hopefully here to reject the cis-hetero patriarchy, because we all deserve the right to do what we want to with our own bodies. We deserve the right to choose. What I have done with my body, my choices in my body, have allowed me to stand in front of you today, have allowed me to become the first transgender athlete to compete for a Division I men's team, have allowed me to fight for trans lives and for people's lives to be themselves. We all deserve that right to choose. Our bodies, our choice. I want you to say it with me. Our bodies, our choice. Our bodies, our bodies, our bodies. Thank you so much.
One more time for Skylar Baylor, reminding us this is a cause for everyone. This is the choice for everyone. And coming up next, we actually have our closing speaker of this rally. I am honored to have the privilege to introduce the Executive Director of SisterSong, a woman of color reproductive justice collective, the United States' largest organization dedicated to reproductive justice for women of color. Please help me welcome Monica Simpson!
What's up, good people? How y'all doing today? Yo, it's been a long time since we've done this, right? Like, all of us together coming to see each other outside of those boxes. It feels so good to see y'all's faces. Yes. So yes, again, my name is Monica Simpson, and I get the honor and privilege of leading SisterSong. We are a Southern-based national organization. I had to say that because the South is in the building today. Can y'all give it up for the South in the building today? So I know that y'all been standing here for a minute, and I know that we have heard from so many amazing speakers already. We have heard speakers tell us so much about their own lived experiences. Can we give those speakers just one more round of applause today, y'all? For their wisdom, their leadership, their bravery, and their dedication to our fight for reproductive freedom. Now, I'm a country girl, and I'm also a church girl, so I'm always about call and response. So are y'all down with a little call and response today? So if I ask y'all to say, we must fight for freedom, can y'all say that? We must fight for justice. It will take all of us to get to the other side. Now, all of these speakers have reminded us of how real this fight for abortion justice is. And essentially, a fight for abortion justice, y'all, is reproductive justice. We do know that, right? They've talked about what this has meant for the most impacted areas of this country. They have shared their personal stories, and they have reminded us of the deep history of the Black women who created reproductive justice, and that has shifted power dynamics and transformed the very way that we organize and advocate for our reproductive lives. Can we say trust Black women, good people? Can we say trust Black women, good people? Now, what's real is that we all walk different paths in this life, y'all. Some of us decide to have children. Some of us decide to not have children. Some of us are just fine-ass aunties like myself. And some of us are absolutely committed to the well-being of our families, and we want nothing less than for all the things that they need to be able to grow and live and be as strong as possible. We want to breathe fresh air, y'all. We want to live in a world where we have a livable wage. We want to be able to celebrate our sexuality freely and to exercise the power of bodily autonomy and keep ourselves and our families safe and happy and healthy. I don't know about y'all, but I ache for something that is so deep, right? I ache most deeply for a more radical vision of the future in which the dreams of people like me, that look like me, feel that whatever it is that they need, that they get to have. That really means that we get to live at the intersections of our lives in a way that keeps us away from systematic violence and oppression and restrictions on our bodily autonomy every single day. I am deeply, deeply aching for something that is bigger than just Roe, good people. Bigger than that. Because if you want something that you don't have, good folks, then you better be willing to do something that you have never done. And I know that I am ready. Y'all feel me? I know I've been ready. Are y'all ready? I also don't know about y'all, but I have been dreaming about winning lately. Like, it's been all up in my spirit. Like, I've been trying that thing on. Like, getting my speeches ready, getting my outfits together for the winning day. You feel me? Because our dear sister mother revolutionary Assata Shakur told us that it is our duty to win. And I take that thing seriously. I don't just say that in the marches. I take that on as a personal mantra. It is our duty to win. And so do you all believe it is our duty to win? It ain't going to be easy. We've heard from so many speakers. We know what's in front of us. We know what's ahead of us. We know what we have to conquer and what we have to make sure that we are taking out and dismantling. And it's going to make us have to work harder than we've ever worked before, y'all. It's going to take deeper trust. It's going to take deeper commitment to dismantling white supremacy, good people. Because this fight for abortion access is a fight against white supremacy. As Black women and people of color, our bodily autonomy is central to our liberation. It is our freedom to make decisions about our own health and our own bodies when it's denied, and we are not liberated if that's not the world that we live in. Instead, we do not need to be bound by laws and systems of white supremacy that only diminish our human rights. That's not the world that I'm willing to live in. And like my dear sister Marcia said, if you didn't want us to talk about race, then you might not have should have asked Black women to come talk on the stage. But we know, what we know is that it is essential, it is important, it is necessary for us to connect this issue to the racial justice issue that it is. Because once we do that, we ensure that that each one of us gets to the liberation that we all want to see in our lifetimes. And only by addressing how each system of oppression interacts and impacts with the other one, and by dismantling all those damn mechanisms that prevent the most vulnerable people from accessing the resources and support to exercise their right to live a self-determined life, is the only way we're going to get free, y'all. And that is what reproductive justice is all about. Entering this conversation through that lens and looking at all of those connections together. Y'all, I'm ready to win. I'm ready to march. I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep going because I'm not tired yet. Are y'all tired? I'm standing on this stage today as a leader, yes, but also as a reflection, y'all. Each one of you is a reflection to each other today, too. I know that I'm a reflection to other Black women, to other Southern folks, to other lesbians navigating their reproductive lives, to sexual assault survivors. Y'all, we all up in here, and we're all in this fight together. I believe that our collective power is stronger than any opposition. And I know it will take all of us to get the liberation that we want, and I believe that it is possible. So have you taken time today to imagine what it would feel like to win? I just want you to put that in your mind for a minute. What does it feel like for us to win? And I want you to hold on to that vision and use that vision as your driving force to do this work in bigger and bolder and more intentional ways, good people. Are y'all ready to bring it? Are y'all ready to bring it, good people? That's what I'm talking about. I know we're ready to march, but before we do that, we're going to do that with some amazing musicians that have put themselves out up in the front of this call to action today. How did y'all love those soul rebels a little earlier? That's what I'm talking about, good people. Y'all, I'm going to bring the soul rebels back up because, you know, we can't have no march without the music, because the people got to feel the music, because the music is what moves us. It is the heartbeat of our movements. So y'all put your hands together one more time for the soul rebels.
1, 2, 1, 2. Y'all ready for one more song? Y'all ready for the march? Well, let's do it. Everybody get ready. We about to start this march all right with the soul. Everybody get ready. We headed this way, y'all. Live from New Orleans, Louisiana, y'all. Here we go. Come on. Come on. Come on. walking around in D.C.
In D.C. Come on.
Everybody asking who we are.
Who we are.
So rebels in the place to be. Yeah. Let your mind be free. Oh, let your mind be free. Free your mind with education. Oh, come on. Help to build a better nation.